Good morning, everybody. It's me, Sculkles, and welcome back. Last week, a super significant, somewhat of a big deal Bedrock Beta dropped. This Bedrock Beta is a big deal because it brings the very first 1.19 features, kind of, to Minecraft. All of it. The features are, of course, the Sculk Blocks. The Sculk Blocks are super cool. Over the past week, we've had time to mess with the Sculk Blocks, and over the past week, even more information has come out about these things. Sculk news, Sculk information, Sculk confirmations. That's what we're going to talk about. If you enjoy this video, leave a like. It really helps out. And if you're new here, subscribe. Brand new videos every day for free. Pretty much most of the information that we'll be talking about in today's video I did not cover in last week's Bedrock Beta. Either the information did not hit yet, I didn't realize it, or something like that. We'll start with the Shrieker. The Shrieker is amazing. The Shrieker is honestly my favorite Sculk block so far. I mean, look at this thing. How can you not love it? The souls on the inside of it, the model itself, it looks so good, and the model itself. That's where we start today. This model, even though it is really, really nice looking, is actually outdated. Funnily enough, this is actually something that I kind of realized. I did mention it in the original beta video, but I actually cut it up because I wasn't too sure. But yes, indeed, if we take things back to Minecraft Live a couple weeks ago, the Shrieker. We got our best look at the Shrieker when the Warden was being shown off. I mean, look at this thing right there. If you already thought the models in the betas was good, it will get even better. Playing it back in slow-mo one more time, the most updated version of the Sculk Shrieker block is even better looking. The Minecraft Live Sculk Shrieker block honestly gets a little bit more detailed. Look at that thing right there. The lower part of the block looks like it gets a little bit wider. The top fang, spike parts, if you want to call it that, I don't know what they are to be honest. Those parts are set in a little bit. Aside from just the block model which has been changed, the texture also looks a little bit different. Looks even better. Jumping back over to the current version in the betas, once you realize it, it's just not the same. Like, no offense to this model, it's great. I really love it. It's still my favorite. But it's just not the same. The new one is so much more superior. Now, I didn't even realize that the Sculk Shrieker right now is actually smaller than the block. That's kind of interesting. That makes me think that the lower part will be pushed out. The fangs will probably stay in the same spot. And then this part, the circle bit that pops up, I think it gets flattened. Maybe flattened is the wrong word. I guess like pushed in. It stays in line with the spike things on the top. It looks a lot better in the new version. It's pretty cool. Do Sculk Shriekers only activate once per world for some reason? They don't activate a second time for me. Confirmed by none other than the Bean King himself, the Sculk Shrieker should not only activate once per world. The Sculk Shrieker activates right now only once per world. It's a massive bug. It's not good at all. This caused speculation, including some not good speculation at all. I saw some theories saying that the Warden would only be able to be experienced once per world because you can only activate the darkness once. That got me nervous, like really nervous, but I always had a feeling that this was just a bug, and yep, it's just a bug. It'll be fixed soon. Hopefully. Until the bug is fixed, you'll only be able to get darkness from the Sculk Shrieker once per world. But there is another way, with the command. This is the command right here to give yourself darkness for 30 seconds. If you haven't checked out darkness yet, it is so interesting. So up here on the surface, it gets dark, like a little bit more dim, kind of pulses in and out. It's very, very cool. But honestly, it's really not that dark. Like the sun kind of cancels it out a lot. If we were to move into a dark room though with the darkness effect, then things get like basically pitch black. Look at this thing. I can't even see anything and my brightness is on 100%. Now let's say I had these candles lit and I'm in this room and I have darkness. It's going to pulse in and out and look at how dim it gets. It's so cool looking. Like super eerie. Now, you have to keep in mind that the deep dark and this darkness effect, it will mainly be experienced in survival deep down in the world where the Warden is. And if you can remember back to when the Warden was shown off in Minecraft Live, candles in those ancient cities. Imagine moving around through the ancient cities that's already insanely dark. And then you get the darkness effect from the Shrieker and it's like pulsing and it's like creepy. Like it's a little bit hard to imagine exactly how it's going to end up feeling. But the creepy vibes that this thing is going to give off. Plus the fact that this model already looks creepy. And in my opinion, the new model, the better one, looks even more creepy. Is an unmatched vibe for this game. It's going to be game-changing. I said it before, I'll say it again because I'm so excited about it. Next year, this game becomes a horror game, like Amnesia. Like, who even is Amnesia anymore? Like, it's going to be amazing. So that's basically it for Sculk Shrieker stuff. Moving on to the Sculk Catalyst. The Sculk Catalyst was a block that intrigued me probably the most when it was first shown off in Minecraft Live. Not this year, but the year before. I mean, like, what is this thing? It's so strange. It almost looks like Endstone combining into Sculk. More on that in a little bit. But yeah, it was very, very intriguing to me. If you call last week's beta breakdown, this is definitely something that we talked about in that one. The Sculk Catalyst is a catalyst for Sculk, meaning it causes the spread of Sculk. It's super interesting. Now, the spread of Sculk was stated in Minecraft Live to be linked to the amount of experience that drops. Eventually, that's how it's going to work. It's going to be really cool, but right now, it's not that time. Eventually, once the Sculk Catalyst makes it into the 1.19 update, more Sculk will spread if you take out something that drops more experience. If you take out something that drops less, then you'll get a little bit less Sculk. Right now, absolutely not. Doesn't work like that. It seems like every single time you take something out, pretty much the same amount of Sculk spreads each time. One thing that I have realized since that beta initially dropped, check this out. So we take this husk out near the Sculk thing, and if it spreads over near where the flower is, then the flower will actually Go away. Alright, blaze, that'll work too. The Sculk will spread right there, and the flowers dropped on the ground. So Sculk is not good for living things, like flowers. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, this thing is literally made out of souls. Yeah, it makes sense. Made out of souls. In the initial beta breakdown video, I was talking about the particle effect that comes out of the Catalyst block, and I said it kind of looks like fire. It's not actually fire. That's a soul. A soul leaves the Catalyst block when you take something out near it. Like, it goes out into the world and corrupts the world. That's interesting. Sculk Catalyst spreading Sculk based on experience amounts. Imagine taking on something that drops a little bit more experience by a Sculk Catalyst, or maybe even like a raid. Like, you put Catalyst all over a village and just let the Catalyst do their thing. Like, interesting. So much experience. Another interesting thing about mobs going away by the Sculk Catalyst, right now, if you take a mob out and, like, you didn't take it out, like, it just goes away for whatever reason, no experience, Catalyst spread? Like, watch this. Down here, there's no experience on the ground at all. If I put a cow inside of this thing and let it just cook, it'll cook, and then if I go up here and I drop a cow from this block again, it'll fall all the way down to the ground, no experience at all, but Catalyst spread. And this cow is gone, and I think Catalyst tried to spread. Maybe that's new right there. I don't know. Just seems really, really bugged right now. Sculk Catalyst, Blaze, or some kind of mob. We take the mob out, and then we have Netherrack around the Sculk Catalyst. Check this out. It spreads, but it doesn't convert the Netherrack. That's a little bit of a bummer. But I mean, that's fine. It does kind of make sense after all. Presumably, these things will only be existing in the overworld unless you silk touch them and move them to the nether. Let's say you did that. You silk touch one of the catalysts, move it to the nether, and then maybe you're late game. You have tons and tons of extra grass blocks or dirt blocks, doesn't matter. Go into the nether, place one of these things down, put dirt all around it, piglin. Anger the piglin, and then you have hordes of piglins running over to you. You keep taking them out. If you have the catalyst set up right, you might be able to spread this stuff pretty efficiently. Get the experience from the piglins, and then also get the experience from this stuff when you mine it. Something like this is definitely going to require a little bit of preparation and setup, but potentially, depending on how much experience all of this stuff will actually end up getting you, it could be worth it. Just something interesting that I thought of. That's it for the Sculk Catalyst. I'm disappointed that the sensors are exactly the same, unless you're tweaking them down the line. Next, we're going to talk about the Sculk sensor a little bit. Maybe the most useful block out of all of these things, but funnily enough, the least interesting out of all of these things, because we've seen it for so long. For both Bedrock and Java, actually, the Sculk sensor is not new. It's really, really cool, super interesting, but not new at all. The Sculk sensor has been on Java and Bedrock Edition for the longest time. However, on Bedrock, it still behaves a little bit differently. Wool occlusion, one of the big Sculk sensor mechanics. Basically, wool cuts out the vibration detection. Watch this. I move around over here, the particle effect, the sound. Yeah, the Sculk is just like massively genius over here. It can just see right through the wool, doesn't matter at all. Even better way to experience this, check this out. I'm up in the air, I can see the Sculk sensor, place something, and it just detects it. So wool occlusion is not existing on Bedrock Edition still, which is sad for sure. Quite possibly even tragic. Top tier concerning until you realize that the Bean developer himself confirmed that all of the functionalities just aren't over here yet. Wool occlusion will still be a thing. I figured this would be a good one to talk about because I saw at least a handful of comments saying maybe wool occlusion has been removed, it's an old mechanic, and it's just gone, erased. No, I don't think that is the case. I think the Sculk sensor just has not been updated. I've been messing around with the Sculk sensor in the latest beta, and it seems like all of the functionalities that were there are still there, and the functionalities that weren't there, they're still not here. I don't think the Sculk sensor was updated at all in the latest beta. Remember, the Sculk sensor is going to be crazy interesting. It can detect a vibration and basically how close the vibration actually was to it. Strong signal right there. Really, really weak signal right there. Doesn't even power the lamp. Like, this thing is crazy advanced. And then over here, comparator sorting, which is going to be crazy. A jump right there. And then just a move, like different signal strengths. A block placement right there, like so strong. And then again, a move, and it's just so weak. Like, this thing is so crazy. This is going to be really, really interesting to get to mess with in 1.19 now. Not 1.17, not 1.18, 1.19. Additionally, eventually, like we saw at Minecraft Live, Sculk sensors will communicate with Sculk Shriekers. So basically, you're moving over here, it detects a vibration and it tells on you to the Shrieker. Like, that's insane. Like, this is not good at all. Sculk sensor, very, very bad. And it's going to blow the cover. Long story short, Sculk sensor, nothing to be concerned about at all. The functionalities aren't here right now, but eventually, they'll be here. King Bean Dogs, we gotta send another big shout out. So far, that's like 6 or 7 shout outs in today's video. Basically, all of the information that I'm talking about in today's video is from King Bean Dogs Twitter. If you don't follow him on Twitter, highly recommend. So this is actually something that we talked about a little in the beta video. The tool that you're gonna want to use to take out the Sculk things is gonna be the hoe. Now, let's say we had a wooden hoe and we tried to take this thing out. It mines pretty quickly. Let's level that up to a diamond hoe very, very quickly. How about a netherite hoe? Almost instantly, or basically instantly. And then how about efficiency 5? Insta-mine. You can insta-mine all of this stuff and get experience so quickly. Now, the hoe is going to be the tool for all of these things. Every single one of them. Now, if you notice that right there, the only thing that I got without Sculk Touch is a Sculk sensor. Is that because it's been in the game for a long time and the functionality is just missing? Or is it because you don't need to Sculk Touch this thing? I'm not sure.
I don't have the answers.
Maybe King B-Dogs on Twitter will eventually have the answers to that one. But right now, if you're trying to get any of the Sculk things other than the Sculk sensor, Sculk Touch is the way to go. Sculk Touch on the hoe right here, and I can Sculk Touch the thing. Sculk Touch on the hoe right here, Sculk Touch that, Sculk Touch that. I don't need Sculk Touch, but I could Sculk Touch it. Wow. My big point here, though, is efficiency 5, netherite hoe, and you can insta-mine basically, or almost, like all of these things. Some of these things definitely insta-mine. Some of the other things, they get pretty close. It's very fast. Which is interesting. Interesting indeed. If we think about the hoe in 1.17, 1.18, these are all of the blocks that you're meant to mine with the hoe. They're all like plant-based blocks, basically, or they were. Like the hay bale was wheat. These nether wart blocks, they're like wart things, leaves, moss block. Yeah, they're all like plant things. In 1.19, you use the hoe to mine all of these things. So the Sculk, they're plants. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, you use the shovel to dig through lighter things like dirt, sand, gravel. You use the pickaxe for harder things like stone. And then the hoe for plants, or plant-like things. Sculk is like plant. Kind of. Sculk backstory. Definitely something very interesting and something that I'm insanely intrigued about. Now, I gotta be honest, I haven't slept since I said in that video. I'm so sorry. Not a single ounce of sleep, which is crazy because it's been like a week now. Not a single second of sleep. That's right. So these Sculk things. In that video, I was speculating, hey, maybe these things are like related to endstone. Look at the coloration. I mean, that one is not mistakable at all. It's so close to endstone. This one, a little bit more mistakable. It's a little bit further off. Old model, but yeah, you know. But I'm so sorry. I lost so much sleep over it. Like, haven't slept at all. I guess it was confirmed somewhere that this stuff is actually linked to bones. And not even just confirmed somewhere like somebody said it online, like myself or something. Like a developer stated it. Now, I don't know. I hope you could understand here. Look at this thing. It looks way closer to endstone in the background, even like the endstone bricks. But I don't know. I think it makes a little bit more sense with the Sculk Shrieker. Definitely like looking like a bone right there for sure. I tried pretty hard to find the source for this information. I couldn't find it, but I did learn it from the comment section of that beta video. So if you commented it, thank you. And I'm sorry that I couldn't find the actual source to throw into this video. So I guess I'm going to end this all with an allegedly, but it does kind of make sense. The Sculk Catalyst is partial bone right there. So it's like souls, if that's what it is, and then bones on the bottom. Very interesting. And then bones right there taking in the souls or releasing the souls or I mean, you can't blame me though, right? Like, look at this stuff compared to all of the end stuff. Like the Catalyst especially, like I said, the Shrieker too even. Like, that's pretty similar coloration, but no. I guess it's bone. The stuff is made out of partial bone. Crazy. However, check this out. That might make you wonder, what about bone blocks with the Sculk Catalyst? If I take this out, sorry chicken, next to that thing, yeah, the bones don't get converted over to the Sculk blocks. The bones are just bones. They're covered with the growth stuff. They don't get converted. Last but definitely not least, these things that we've been taking a look at today, they're all amazing. They're so cool. But like me, you play on Java Edition. When do you get to play with these things on Java? Will they be coming to a snapshot soon? Maybe even a test snapshot like they did for 1.18? That was pretty cool. Nope. According to the developers, there is no plan for these things to make it over to Java Edition at any point soon. Once 1.19 goes into snapshots, we will see these things in the snapshots, which will be cool. I mean, it will be a beautiful moment for sure. I would guess it would be one of the earlier snapshots too, but for now, if you want to mess with this stuff, you're going to have to be on Bedrock Edition and inside of the beta. That's how it's going to be right now, and most likely, how it's going to be for a while. I really hate to end on such a sad, tragic note, but we've done it. We made it to the end of the video. That's it for Sculk News today. So out of the 3 new Sculk blocks that we have, and the sensor and the growth plant, which one is your favorite, and why is it the Shrieker? Let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching, I appreciate it. More videos and a playlist on the end card, check it out, and I'll see you tomorrow with another brand new video. Goodbye.